And hello, and welcome. This is Joanna with the Jewel Design. And today is Monday. And with that, a little Merry Monday. So today, as I mentioned on Saturday and last week, I thought maybe I'd attempt a little Christmas this week. Why not, right? Christmas in July and all the fun stuff. And I was watching videos as usual, and I got an idea. And let's see if we can bring it to fruition. Is that the right word? Yes. Let's see if we can do this. So it is taking any kind of square paper. Of course, smaller the piece of paper, the smaller the squares. But this is a Fanfold flip book. Or flip book, I guess. Because it, goes back and forth. You flip it one way and you flip it out the other way. So the goal is that when we're done, you have this little flip book. Like I said, depending on the size of the paper determines how big these squares are. And then with another cover on it, you flip it the other way and you have the back side. Okay. So it's a little tricky because I did realize that because of the way they fold, there are some spots that we have to glue down. So you don't get as many pages, I think, on the back side as you do the front, which is a little bit of a bummer. But there was nothing I seemed to change on that. And we have to make sure that when you fold it, as you see, it's sort of wonky. We want to make sure we have a really good one. Now, this was an 8.5 by 8.5 piece of paper. I took an 8.5 by 11, cut it square, and we get these little, just over 2-inch squares. Thought about working on it, but it's really small. I mean, don't get me wrong, cute little idea. But what I want to make, it's not just a Fanfold flip out book, but I wanted to make it like a Christmas book, a Christmas gift idea. I think these would be great to make, almost in bulk. You can almost do a mass make of them. And especially with a lot of papers and stuff and fabrics. But I think they'd make cute, and we'll see if this works, if I got the count right, little advent calendar type books. So let's give this a shot and see what happens. So I've got some beautiful green and gold fabric, and I've got some red and green and beige paper this way. And you do want to make sure it's double-sided. So you either do a digital and you print it front and back and cut it down, like I said, about 8.25 or 8 by 8. It makes a nice, cute little 2-inch square box. Or if you use a 12 by 12, well, this one has to have cream and red on one side, stripes on the other. Not quite what I was hoping for, but, it's close enough. Close as I'm going to get. You need both sides. Now, I think we're going to... Maybe the way we do it, we'll have to see. This might be the side where we have the most of it, and then the back side might be a little bit busier. Which is fine because I think we're going to have less back pages anyway, so it might work. But pick a double-sided piece of paper, make sure it's square. We're folding it in 4s both directions, and that's what makes the deal. And then once we're done, we will quickly cut some press board, packing, an envelope, anything, in this case, I think down to 3 by 3 or 3.25. So it's just a little bit wider than this. Cover it with fabric, glue it to your page, and then I'll show you how I think it may make a really cute advent calendar type thing. And I have a cute idea on how to make it, of course, beneficial to our crafting needs. So as we go along, I'll talk about that. So to start off with, like I said, these should be 12 by 12. So they should give us, if we do this right, 3 by 3. And I don't have my, where is my, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked, but I don't know where my glue board is. My, that's interesting. Oh, there it is. I'm like, where is my... Not that we need it, but we're going to need it. Okay, so the biggest thing I noticed is that really making sure that your folds are as accurate as possible. Because if they're not, as we noticed, this all gets a little wonky and they don't line up. And you really can't do... I don't know if to be any closer or not. Hold on, I feel like I'm a little out of whack, guys, here. I don't think we need any closer. Okay, so I would definitely use your bone folder or whatever mechanism you have to help with your scoring. And see, there's the fold. Now you're going to come up to the fold. And maybe this is where things get wonky if you don't get it right. We are cutting on some of the folds, so that's why it's nice to have it. And there's no good way to see this. I was trying to make sure I had it up at the line, because if I don't, if it comes up short. I saw one of the ladies I fold, a lady, I'm not sure where she's out of, but she's definitely in Europe. I can't read, I think it's Dutch, but I can't read her website. I'm afraid it doesn't translate. I'm really bummed. But she does great bookbinding, great little books, journal books that you can write on in her. She's got cool tools for all kinds of fun, different ways to sew in your signatures. And anyway, she was doing this. she did one of these little books before, and so she did a quick run through on a square version, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. So we folded it in half, then we folded each half up to the line so we get 4s. Now we're going to flip it the other way. This is what gets us, I guess, our even squares so that we can cut and fold, fan it out. Fan it, flip it, however you want to put it, both ways. Now I'm hoping that, because this is double-sided scrapbook paper, it is a little thicker. That's not quite perfect. Now we could trim a little, maybe. If I absolutely just was a little off, we might be able to trim something, but if we're not careful, we'll cut something we don't want to cut. So I'm trying not to do anything. But we are simply going to keep folding in 4s. And this is actually, yeah, no, 3 by 3. Okay, I'm looking to see. You can sort of start seeing the squares here. We've got right here, right? We're starting to get a number of squares. So it's 4 by 4 is 16. Front and back is 32, but we do lose, technically, which is sort of a bummer. Hold on. We do lose some pages in the folds, and that's what I'm a little bummed about. I did do the test run to make sure. I'm hoping we can get at least 23 pages out of this. If I do it right? If we do it correctly. Now, there might be another way to do it, and I'm thinking of something, but, you know, when we're dealing with Christmas and Merry Monday and Christmas items, you know, there's certain things like numbers, like 24 days or 25 days, that are sort of crucial. Now, December daily, we go up to 30, 25 to 30. So this could be a December daily item. This can be, of course, a Christmas gift item. I think you make them and sell them in time for November so people could have them, give them away beginning of December. Now, I don't know. No, and either side is really all that great. So anyway, all right, to start off with, okay, so now we've got 4 by 4, 16 squares, technically front and back 32. You know, we're going to lose one when we glue it to the covers. So down to 30. I think we lose a few more, but that's okay. All right, so now the fun part is to get this to fan fold and flip properly. The front, we cut the first 3 across the top. Second, we do the second 3. So we have these opposite squares that hold on to. And the third one, again, we cut down here. So I am using an X-Acto knife. I tried, the other things I did try cutting with scissors. And I think that was partially the problem because it's not very straight. So you want to get in that fold, use an X-Acto knife. That's why I'm still I'm on the glue mat too, because it helps cut and not cut into my, come on. I'm not going super tight. Trying to be careful with it. Okay. It's a little rough. And, you know, we can try to clean that off a little bit. Okay. And then, so there's this one. Now we're going to go up to the next one, and we're going to go down instead of up. And I'm sort of using those folds as my guides here. We're going to we're going to knock all the way down to the bottom. We're going to do the top now. We're going to do the top 3 instead of the bottom 3. And I'm just trying to get my ruler right in here where I want it. Okay. I'm going to stop right at the bottom of my ruler because that's right where the intersection is. Now, this idea is out there. There's a number of ladies that I follow. There's another one. She makes really cool mixed media books like this. She does the same thing. She takes her cover. She gets huge pieces of paper, folds and cuts it the same way, and flips it back out. And, you know, it's a continuous book. Not so much she flips it over. I don't know if she flips it around or not. But I think just to make her pages is what she does. And it's really cool. I haven't watched her in a while, actually. I've got to go find her. I don't remember if she's on YouTube or I think she's on Instagram. All right, so I keep flipping things around. But like I said, you can, if you cut really straight, you can do scissors along the hem. But because it is, you know, bent, sometimes we have a tendency of cutting one side or the other, and I think that's what makes it a little uneven. And I'm doing my best here, really carefully taking my time cutting this. And of course, you can zoom through until I'm done cutting. This is, you know, taking too long, but we have to get through it. Whoops, I hate when I do that. When I get the ruler, not the paper. I'm like, no. There we go. Okay. All right. Easy peasy. Hopefully. Easy peasy lemon squeezy and not so crazy. All right. So as it folds naturally, you will go the first one. We're going to go backwards and forward. And as you go, hoping You can make a little bit of adjustments to see if you can, you know, even anything out. Really get it sort of laid in. Okay, but then you go backwards. Now that's the biggest thing, is that you want to go, you don't come forward, you go backwards with every one of your connectors. Okay, so parts of it you're just naturally going with the fold that is already sort of there, but when you get to each end, you have to fold it backwards for this to work. Otherwise, I guess you don't get that continuous whatever. Did the first time and it didn't work at all, and I was like, so I went back and went, okay, yeah, always backwards, then forwards. And some things are going to go against the fold that was created. Others are pretty much, you know, every other, it's right with the fold we already created. Now, like I said, this is going to be, yeah, so right now for the majority, oh, maybe not. I don't know. Well, either way, let's see. I could probably undo it if I had to, but I don't want to make things too, so I went to the back, the front. There we go. Now I did pretty darn good. I'm pretty impressed with myself with scoring it, or using your bone folder is nicely. Make sure everything's pretty straight, pretty probably sharp on your, now having it rough is not a bad thing. It does give it some play. You could go back and try to rough up all the edges, but I don't know. Wait till you have it all, wait till you have it all glued in place before you do that. Okay, so if I did this right, 1, 2, 3, see, this goes together. So we're going to have to glue some pages together to keep it smooth. It's not everything. It's not front and back. But you go back this way. Now this is what ended up, which I was trying. No, I guess either way, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, see, what happens is we end up, when we glue this together, you know, we do lose these in between. And that's the bummer part. So let's see. We get 1, we get 2, we get 3, we get 4, we get 5, we get 6, we get 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now that's going to be glued down. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I think we get 24, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, perfect. A little short. I mean, you don't have to make a day of Christmas, but you're busy Christmas. So for this event, I don't see us, you know. So we are going to glue our covers to the strips, or to the stripe side. So let's see. Let's make sure, I know, so we don't cover and cover. Nice thing is, no matter what we do, this is non-directional, so that makes it nice. Now we can ink it up a little bit if we wanted to closed to sort of give our edges some vintage feel. I am using our sort of vintage, my vintage Christmas numbered set. I wish I mean, I could probably have some papers similar to this. I know I have, you know, things, and I could put it on cardstock if I wanted smaller. If I wanted a smaller book, the 2x2 type book, I could have printed my digitals on cardstock front and back, whatever I wanted to do, my plaids, my polka dots, whatever, because I have all this stuff in that, and made it a 2x2, which you use my 1-inch daily numbers, and this would still work. It just makes for very small addition that I want to do. But because these are 3 inches, I can use the 1.5-inch numbers. We can put them in the bottom corners, and we can glue them here on the corners so we can stick our Advent thing. So I'm thinking I think we're going to make it a craft prompt, a Christmas craft prompt Advent flip book. So in the next video, I will have a sheet of prompts for crafting for Christmas that we will add to this. And then those will be available, of course, up in the shop, in the digital shop, to purchase. And probably a limited amount of them pre-printed if you want on the design side. So both sides of the shop will have the prompts. So I am going to go back and do a little inking here. We want to keep it sort of vintage. Right. Let's keep it together. And then we'll do some gluing. And we will get the covers on so that it holds it all together. And I'll show you what I mean about the things. This will probably be a quick thing. You could mass make this. This is something you can cut, you know, to pick your size. And of course the press board and what you have available to you. The fabrics you have available to you. Now I do have this green fabric on hand. I believe. We still have the green fabric with a beautiful gold fabric to make your own Christmas cover. But you could always use the fabric and the batting to do something like this too. So no one says you have to use it for covers. Fabric is never, I don't know which way I'm going with this, huh? There we go. I'm like, it won't be perfect. I can always fine tune it later, but I was just trying to get a quick sort of, because it's sort of a cream, this one happens to be cream and red. Now it is a little more pinker than my kits, but actually it pulls nicely from the poinsettias actually, so not too shabby. We're gonna do, like I said, I went for red paper on the inside with a green cover to pull both potential colors for Christmas. We're gonna do some lace on edges. We're gonna have some fun. So, oh shoot, I'm on Do Not Disturb, so she's just gonna have to wait. Yeah, I can't do much about that. Hopefully she'll text me, but luckily, oh my goodness, right? Let's see, all that and then some. Okay, let's go for that. All right, so like I said, now I think for here, going a little. I think we're going to line it up perfectly here because we don't want it to, if we go past this side, it won't open right. But I think we can go a smidge beyond on the sides and the top. So that's exactly 3. So we could go just barely 3 1/8 that way. And if I do 3 1/8, it'll just be beyond this side, right? So 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 with the cover, then with the fabric covered around, it'll be a little bit wider. We can have it just a little taller and definitely wider this way. We want to go out away from the spine for our cover, because when we open it, we do not want it to bind up and get in the way. So, because then once it opens, you go here and you just open the other direction, right? Cover, yeah, opens. So, ooh, go over that way. Gets in the way. So yeah, we'd be very careful that one, because this one doesn't cover. So if we do it here, I didn't think about that. We'll have to be careful when we go to glue and see which way it works best, because I know this one makes sense. You open it this way, but when you have it glued here, yeah, you still don't want it to go into this one, even though you're going to open it this way. Sorry, my voice is giving. I don't know, because it'll be... we may just center them. Sorry, my voice is all weird. That's odd. All right. And I'm thinking and I'm making I'm like, yeek. Okay, so let's make sure, fingers crossed, right? These moments where it does fold in and out, we're going to have to glue together. And I didn't check my glue before we started. How are we all doing, though? Have we done a lot of Christmas in July yet? Have we done the challenges? Are we making all the fun Merry Monday stuff? Have we started stocking the stash? I don't know how much Christmas I'll do this year. I really should get back into it, but this will be the start. We'll get these little prompts up and running. Now I'm just doing 2 corners. I am just doing, carefully as I can, and glitter glue is going to work. Excuse me, I am so sorry. But you do need to go one more. Okay. Wasn't sure if you need to do all 3 sides or not. I am just doing the outer edges. I am not doing everything in between. I didn't feel like over gluing it. I am just doing the 3 sides. If we feel it's not going to stay shut for some reason, or it gets too bubbly, then I will definitely have to go in there and make do with it. Eek, eek, eek. There we go. Okay. So as we get going here and we start gluing things down, so you'll have a few pages every so often. That'll be definitely thick, right? But that's okay. It's not super crazy. It helps reinforce everything. 1, 2, and 3. I'm trying to figure out make sure I get the right corners, right? So it's pretty much where the 4th square comes together from one row or column to the next is where you have to connect it. So carefully line it up, but then reopen it to make sure you do not glue it to anything else. I'm so proud of myself, guys. You know how well, if you watch me enough, you know I do not cut straight to save my life. So I'm really glad I used the X-Acto knife and the ruler, went along the fold line, and it seems to be working out really nicely. So that is so good so far. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. That's all good. That connects so it doesn't do weirdness. There's the next one, and then we're done. Okay. So I'm just finding where the two, come together. So it's pretty much the seam at the top and the side. But however, whoops, I missed completely there. But cardstock does seem to be working. This is, it's scrapbook cardstock, so it might be not as thick. But I think it's about the same. I think it's about the same as our 65 pound. It feels like it. It feels about the same width. It feels great when it's glued together. It's so yummy in its thickness. But if you just did paper, you would be okay too. Those sections would definitely be thicker compared to the rest. It would feel like standard paper on its own. And I'm sort of going back and cleaning this up a little bit as we go. I'm like, I know I inked it, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to cut into it. It's all perfectly laid out. So, all right. Okay, so now we have our pages, right? We have all of our dotted pages. Then we have all of our these. So yeah, you do a little less on the back in these. But you know what? Near the end, when we're getting like the week of Christmas, look, you've got this beautiful stripes to work with. So for here, we've got, 20, which is a point set of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We have all these beautiful pages, which, I mean, they're all pretty, but, I think it's great on this. It's going to be really pretty. All right, so they're glued together. We've got, our potential flip, it was called a Fanfold, and we now have a flip out, double-sided booklet. And now I'm going to go cut the cardboard real quick, and then we can sit here and cut the fabric, and I think with shears so we can wrap it around nicely, but we'll wrap it, and that way we can see through, glue it down and get it cut the way we need to and make it all good for us. Okay, so give me 1 second, and I'll have these cut down to that 3 1/8 we're thinking about. Okay, I'm back with our 3 1/8. And yeah, I think we're looking at it the way it goes. I think to keep it even, we're just going to center them. I think both covers get centered on the page, and that way there's no real exact, and it's barely going to be, I mean, it's less than 1/8. It's a 16th if I do this right, edge, and no matter what we flip open, it should not get in the way, and we'll just cross our fingers. Because I think if you try to go one or the other, you don't have a clean book that you can't see. So we're going to go that way about it. All right, so I have this piece of fabric left over. We know that we're going to glue it down. I'm going to cover, of course, the side of the book. The side of my thing that is from design. We'll leave this gray, brown available to glue to that. Doesn't really matter. And I'm thinking we're going to, I don't think we really need to cover one or the other. We just want to make sure we can cover corners nicely. Everybody does it differently. Sometimes you take the corner and you fold it in. I know you fold it in, and whatnot when you're trying to round it, but I think when you have a straight edge, you cut the corner off, right? So that when you fold it down, it covers that. I always watch the lady who does the book binding, but I always get confused. I'm like, wait. One moment she folds it down, the next moment she cuts it off. So I think when she does rounded corners, she leaves it and folds it down because then she's going to wrap it. When she does perfect squares, I believe she cuts an angle off. So we may use, to be on the safe side, some kind of guide here so that we know, okay, here, I can cut perfectly at an angle so that each side's correct. Because I have a tendency of not cutting the angles quite right. Ooh, that pulls the ink. Interesting. Okay, ooh, who knew? Well, I guess that makes sense. You would get ink from the print job would come up. Oh, that looks fun. Hopefully don't see it through. But I'm going to try, ignoring the white space because we're going to take it off, trying to give myself an even amount of fabric on all ends. Like what I see here is what I see here, so that it does cover pretty evenly, right? And I don't think, if I was making if I was making a cover, yes, I would go really thin and I'd have it, but I'm not, so we're going to have to cut it over here so that I can cut what I need. So we're going to give some space over here so that when I cut down the middle, there's a good chance that it's pretty even, and I can just cut across the bottom here, keeping myself a nice, what's the word, section that's nice and clean. All right. So because you're gluing the paper to it, you are, you know, technically doing your bookbinding cover page on the inside. So hopefully this gives you a little idea. It's a great, I think, a great Christmas month present. Not, of course, not at the month of, not at Christmas, because, well, Christmas would already be past due. But for December daily type Advent craft idea, I think it'd be a great gift to give at someone around Thanksgiving, right before the beginning of December. And makes for a fun, because I have a few Advents. I got the, you got the pockets for the kids where they have a gift in each day, but I have others that as you flip through, you change the date, and it gives you a Christmas prompt, right? To go get Christmas trees, or go get your Christmas tree, go put up lights, go caroling, go make cookies, do something Christmassy. So I have a craft prompt idea that I want to do and be able to provide you guys those strips, those printables to add to this. So I will make a set, of course, for this, because being my demo. I'll have to decide how many more of these I want to make. Of course, that's not cut straight. Here we go. This is where I should not be cutting with paper scissors. That's my problem right there. I grabbed the wrong ones. I know better. I'm like, I grabbed the wrong ones. Not that they don't cut, but then my paper isn't going to cut very well. Ugh, I've always... But yeah, this gorgeous green and gold fabric with a also two-tone gold, I believe, fabric is still as a journal cover kit in the store right now. I have 2 sets left. Then I think I just had the gold left. I think I have some of this left over to make like a tall skinny or a travel's notebook version. So I'll have to see what else I have left for you guys. It's one of those things we did in the beginning. I'm like, ooh. Trying to even it out. Of course, I'm not doing great, but that's okay. Nice things are, all I need is enough to where the paper is going to cover it. And for the most part, the paper is going to cover because, well, yeah, we didn't make these much bigger than the actual page. So we don't need a lot, but I want a nice clean piece over it. And nice part was using the cutter I can do. So now the problem is it's just getting the right angle on each corner so that I don't have too much of a weird... You could do it this way, but it makes it bunchy, so that's why you cut the corners off, so that you can... I don't know if that would work. I'm wondering, I'm just looking at the angle going, well, does it matter if it just lines up on the bottom here and I cut across? The angle's the angle. Let's see. I mean, I just hope I don't mess it up completely. Actually, it looks really good. Okay, that does work. All right, taking our, corners that we use for our tabs. When we do tab journals, it's nice when each corner is the exact same width or the same angle. Might work. Let's see. Yep, cutting it close. Gosh darn it. I hate when I do that. See, that's the only thing I guess I need to go up higher, and that's where I always goof up from her. Well, I have the corners. I could, to save my tush, glue them back in place and then cover over, and it wouldn't matter, at least for this one end. All right, we'll keep going, and then we know the next one, it has to be out farther. Well, when you make a mistake, make the same mistake over and over. Keep it even. I do that with crocheting. I realize that I'm not doing something exactly right, and then I go, huh. Yeah, so see, that one's there, and that's there. Now, that one covers, I think, because we have it more on that side, but I think we'll do the same thing all the way across. No matter what. This is and I love the lady because she's smart. She has all these beautiful rulers, and so you know exactly what to cut off everywhere. All right, so to be on the safe side, I mean, these corners are almost covered, but not quite. So you can do one of two things. I can do here and then go back and cover it this way, or do it underneath. So think we're going to do it underneath, so in case we see it, we don't see everything. And we're going to just make sure that it's all good. So, hey, I won't do that on the other side. But if we're going to do it on one side, we're going to do it on both. We're going to be consistent. We're going to be consistent. But this way we know that the corner is definitely covered, that we're not hopefully going to see much of any of the cardboard. And it's pretty clean to where we're not bunching things up too badly all the way around, right? So, yeah, this is where I always goof up. I just do. I never get this correct. I'm like, wait a minute, well, why didn't that work? I think we have to cut out a little farther. You can't cut right at the corner. You're going to come up a little bit. And again, she has beautiful guides. I think she was doing the same problem. She realized, wait a minute. So with probably a, what's it called? 3D printer. She had them done. She creates corner cuts where it fits in and it cuts it for you. So it probably doesn't cut it right on the end, right on the corner, duh. And she's got rulers, and it's great. But yeah, her website is completely in a different language, and because she's overseas, and I can't find the translation button to know what I'm looking at, to know what I'm ordering for sure. I was like, man, because I would probably, if it didn't cost me too much, I'd probably order some of these pieces, right? I'd order those corners, and I would order all that, and it would be so much fun. Okay, so I know I'm not. So yeah, I just went ahead and took what I cut off for the most part, put them back on so that I can now cover and know for sure that there is no cardboard showing. So if our paper doesn't cover, like here, we are not worrying about it. It's nice and clean, and all we're going to see is beautiful green fabric. Because yes, I am not taking chances with that. All right, so we're going to do this. So how are we doing? Not to waste too much time, I may pause here and get this glued in, and then let you guys, and then come back in so you guys aren't watching me glue 50 million times. But yeah, this works again, your bone folder, folds it up, squishes it out, so you're not having to touch more than necessary. That works nicely, actually. It's really tight. So I am gluing the fabric the best I can so that I feel like I'm getting hopefully enough, and I'm not guessing at the paper or the press board where I'm putting stuff. Fabric sometimes is helpful enough if you wanted a poofier cover. Yes, I would take the batting that you may get in any of our kits, and I could have put the batting on this end, right? So it's softer, squishier, to give it more of a padded core thing. But not knowing for sure how this is going to go down, I think I'd rather keep it pretty thin, right, and easy. And because we want to decorate this too, so if it's too thick, it might make it a little harder to decorate, and then of course flip back and forth. So I think that if we keeping it thin like this does work. If you want it thicker, I just go for a thicker piece of cardstock or corrugated cardboard. Yeah, go for a thicker piece of cardboard, and you could do it that way too. If you don't have any, as a crafter, I would assume you'd have, but if you didn't have any batting for some reason, or didn't happen to buy the kit that this goes with to do this type of thing with, because you get 13 by 16 or something like that in our paperwork. I mean, in our kits, it's a decent size piece of fabric. You could make a couple of these, quite a few of these cute little flip things if you liked the idea of the fabrics to make, this kind of Advent flip out Christmas thing. The green and the gold, I think, work beautifully for that. Put red papers and red accents, and decorate with red Santa and bags and poinsettias. You've got that lovely contrast. So the only thing we have is that tiny little corner right there that did not come down as tight as I was hoping. And I don't know whether to trim it or glue it. So we're going to try gluing it first and seeing if I can, get it to, like this one. So not quite as tight and as beautiful as I was hoping, but this is my mock-up, so that's okay. This is my trial and error, which I will play with. I will make it, and I will have to use it this December, as I'm designing stuff. I'll have to use my own prompts, right? Okay, so we'll walk through this first, and then that way that's the back page. I can tell because of the fact that it does, this is your back, a little bit backwards. We will use this one to do our front. So we are going to, I think we're going to keep going what we're doing. We're going to glue it put glue on the paper, carefully as I can. I won't just do the edges. We want to do as much as we can of this. Come on, glue. Came out good at first. Weather's been nice, so hopefully you guys are dealing with better weather. Everybody's got calmer weather and beautiful summer, whatever going on right now. You know, as we work on Christmas, right? And then I'm going to try to eyeball it. Haha. Middle, which is again why fabric tack is a beautiful thing, because it gives us time to maneuver. So I'm looking all the way around, not pressing down too tight, and I am trying to eyeball what I feel is middle. I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to use my bone folder to really squish it down. Make sure we've got glue in all directions. Now it does look like it's a little closer to that edge than that edge, but it is the front, and I think it does get a little, but we're popping it open anyway, so I think it's okay. I think it's going to be nice, and if we can get front and back to match, I think by Jove, we've got it. So there we go. There's the front cover. So I will pause. I will get the other one done. We'll get them, and I'll come back, and we'll glue that one down, and we'll go on to the next step before I let you go. And then we'll finish the rest of this Wednesday or Thursday. We will. I'll have the prompts to add in here to show you, and we'll work on the covers. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me get the last one done so we make sure it all finishes off the way it's supposed to. Okay, so we're back with our second square. All done. Yeah, that would have driven me insane. Didn't mean too long, right? Okay, so same thing. We're just going to try to make it even. And see if there's one that was like perfectly. They're both cut the same and all that jazz, but what? Hold on. Found a corner. It was doing so good, and I thought, well, I'm good, but almost. There's always one corner, right? Always one corner. And you think it's all good, and it wants to be a little stubborn. How rude. Just want to like coat that thing with corn. I guess you could put corner if you had little. If you had little book corners, you could really elevate this and make, put book corners, I think, on each. Can't do it on the bottom. Well, no, you can't do them on the bottom edges, but you could do on the outer. You could corner both outer edges if you really wanted to. I was just like, can you? Yes, you can. Just not all four corners. Okay, so we're going to try to even that out. It does feel like the back is a smidge bigger than the front. Which, okay. I mean, it's not really a front and back. Being a flip book, it does have, technically, if you're just decorating it, it would not have a true, oh man, it's not one thing, it's something else. It doesn't have a true front and back. If it's just a lookbook and you do a flip out like this, sometimes it's simply just, it doesn't really matter. I know I created one that way, and I don't even know where it is anymore. And, it doesn't really matter which way you start with it, as long as you have it upright. That was the only, thing. Make sure when you're decorating it, it is all upright in the same direction. But in this case, since we're numbering it, there is a front and back, as in the sense of you start with one and you want to go back and keep going. So, but I'm okay with the fact that this is a little different in size. Again, this is mine. This is my, okay, so you would want to double check your squares, make sure they're exactly the same, just to make it a better. Reminds me of a s'more right now. Isn't that funny? So when we glue it down, we're just going to make sure that we really get, I think I'm still going to do this. We really get everything even. That we get enough glue on here that it doesn't stick right away, and that, we have a little bit of maneuvering room. Time to move it and not worry about it permanently sticking when we don't want it, and trying to get it as centered between the paper and the front and back cover as much as we can. Right? I mean, if we end up wasting other things, we may not notice, but I think I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to start moving it around and seeing where it all sits and lays, and I'm just sort of feeling for evenness as best I can, and hoping that it's not the paper that's moving. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to open it. There we go. Let's get our bone folder in there to make sure it's really stuck down. Ta-da! Voila! So there it is. There's our pages. Cover. Flip it. Nope, opens beautifully because it is a loose flip book. It is the funny part because you do have, when you open it here, there is an extra piece down there that's tighter. Every other page has your little tab in there. But anyway, then you have your back pages, right? So majority of it's in the front. Let's make sure we're still there. So we got page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yes! All right, up to Christmas Day. I'm loving it. Oh, it worked. Okay, so square piece of paper, double-sided preferred, because you do need both. 8 by 8 gets you down to 2-inch squares, makes a very tiny little advent. Your scrapbook paper is 12 by 12, so you get a nice 3 by 3. We made the covers 3 1/4 both ways, so that it's just a little bit beyond the paper to help protect it. Okay, and now to make it an Advent craft prompt, Christmas craft prompt, or Christmas December daily prompt, we're going to put our numbers on it. So each day there's a prompt for it. So these circles of mine, when printed at full size, are 1.5 inches. Of course, let's see which way can I do. These are centered exactly, which means yes. Okay, we need to cut some stuff off the edges here. Yeah, the problem when you go exactly center means your circle punch may not fit. Here, we'll do this real quick. Okay, let's cut out the first few numbers. Right, my 1.5, like I said. So I usually, when it comes to my coins, whether it's a 1 inch, a 1.5, or a 2 inch, even our thumb notches in my work usually are using the 1.5 inch or the 2 inch. Usually 1.5 inch for most things, but occasionally I've done a 2 inch, but I think most everything's 1.5. But if I put a thumb notch in the design, I'm using the 1.5 inch circle as my guideline. All right. Of course, it's just more like printer error or printer's error and operator error for any kind of not perfection there. Let's ink them real quick. I'll show you my idea. Now, I think on the first 2 pages, our numbers are going to be on the opposite side of the rest, which you could vary it back and forth, totally up to you. You could go, yeah, I guess you would. You would go actually back and forth. I'm just realizing this because not everything is on the, see, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's get these all inked. And we're going to use them as our pockets for our prompts. So it's not just the day of the calendar that you're using for the prompt. It is also what is actually holding your prompt. So we'll do a backing to it. So all you see is the pretty backing. And then you would flip it, you would pull it out, and you would read the back, and you'd have your hidden prompt. So what I'm thinking, and what I'm going to do is, we're just going to use this as our eyeball. Now, my prompts are probably going to be, easily can be 2 inches, but we have to decide how little or how much of this to glue down to keep it in place. So if you put you print this actually on, you could probably put the prompts on cardstock and it would definitely be sturdy, and it would not, it would be nice and thick and you wouldn't destroy them. Or you could put them on your 32-pound bright white paper, so they're nice and light. But you just want to make sure that when you're done with it for the day, you would flip it around and you would be able to read your prompt to remind you what you did. So each one of the other ones, though, would be face down with a pretty pattern, and you would flip them over once you did them. So like in an Advent chocolate calendar or a candy calendar or whatever, you pop open the door, you pop open the number, and you get to see what's inside, or now it's empty inside, right? So your prompt would be face down pattern. Once you did it, you could turn it around and read what your prompt was for that day. Don't you love it? Oh, I can't wait. Okay, so that'll be, but I wanted to make sure, I have to see how much. I was thinking about doing it this way and you tucked it this way. And I guess you could vary it. You could put it on the sides and tuck them into the sideways. You could put them on the bottom and make it more of a corner pocket, which I think is what I want to do. So we see a majority of what is going on personally, right? That's me. But you could vary it every couple pages. I wouldn't put them on the top and tuck them up because as you're flipping this out, they may fall out. So I feel like it needs to be on the side, and you definitely need a good amount glued here and hope that, it sticks nice and tight, at least halfway or about a third of the way. So whatever you put in here will stay and maybe not fall out, or on the bottom here. So it's more of a bottom tuck, so that bottom corner pocket, so that you don't accidentally, have everything drop out of your book. So, gosh, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look and see what our best bet is going to be here. Sort of eyeballing where I think my design is for my corner. And actually, you can sort of see. So there we go. We're seeing barely that we are getting out of a 2-inch square quite a bit. Okay, so I think we'll be okay. And I'm putting them right here on the corner. And I'm hoping it's going to dry first. You can see here, let me zoom in a little, you poor things. I know it got dark all of a sudden. Gosh, I hate that. I'm not sure why it does that. Anyway, all right, so we can now put that in there, knowing that for the most part, don't shake your book around, but that's going to stay put. So that's just a thin piece of paper, and it's sticking pretty good. So the heavier it is, it might pop out more, but I think if we do 2-inch prompts, I think it's going to work beautifully. Now I'll make sure the prompts are in 2 different sizes if I can do it. 24 by 2 is quite a bit. It may be a full page, but I may make smaller ones so that if you did a 2-inch, you had a 1-inch prompt if you wanted to make a smaller piece, so you didn't have to shrink it. Or you have the full 2-inch if you did it scrapbook paper size. So just do it digital, you're going to want 1-inch circles with 1.5-inch squares. So these are 1.5, so it's a 2-inch square. So yes, so 2-inch page, 1-inch circle, 1.5-inch prompt. So there's, I will have both, so you can do this. So if you get my numbers, they come in both 1-inch. There's a 1-inch design, and there is a these, which are 1.5-inch circles, all in one purchase. And then I'll make sure the prompts are both in 1.5 and 2-inch sizes. That reminds me, did I put a note on anything? No, I didn't. Here, make sure I note that properly. Where did I put them? There we go. I have a note. Where's my pencil? I just had it in my hand, didn't I? All right, so yeah, we'll do 1.5 and 2-inch prompts. There we go. Square. So that you can work it either way. Now, I may decide that with this kit that you get the numbers and the prompts together. So all you have to do is find the papers that you want and the fabric that you want, right? Nice little kit to make it. And then this way you can print those numbers as many times as you need, one page or the other. Numbers and prompts together. All right, that'll be fun. So we'll have a little Christmas. Yes, nice. Okay. All right, I make sure, I'm making sure it feels good, right? And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I can go either way. Maybe the next set I do more the side note, which I think will work. So you could vary where your prompts go and how much. Like I said, but I would go side or I would go bottom, preferably. That's me. So I'm going to try to center it. Try to keep it about there. You can always, if you go to realize that it's just not sticking or staying put, you can always try to get a little bit more glue in there. There we go. Let's see. And I am just sort of trying to eyeball where I think on the page, yep, right about there, there's lines. And so you can sort of look at it and gauge where your third is or your quarter from the one side or the other. Surprisingly, I'm like, yeah, you can do it. Let's see, we can go there. So you can do them, like I said, you can do them sideways in the side, or you can do them in the bottom corner, either one. And I may vary it, so that just helps for fun. Then it allows you to do a little decor, right? You can decorate in a number of places. Now, I noticed that a number of my odd numbers, I had some issues here. Not much I can do about that, but that's going to glue here, so I'm going to have to figure out how to lessen that. I had a printer issue. For some reason, it would not print. My printer had to be restarted. It would not print anything. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we'll have a decorated backing to put on the back of your prompts. So you see, another something pretty, maybe something green. I may actually do my plaid. I'll give you guys my plaid color because it's red and green. It would pull the color, like in this case, it'd pull the colors together. And then the prompts are going to be probably pre-done cream. I have to decide if I'll do any kind of border or anything on it, but depends how much the prompt, we'll put something. I will design it to where it's easy to cut. But once the backing is done, where to cut your prompts. So, ta-da-da. And then you just flip it over once you have done something. And cool. Loving the idea. But now then, yeah, it's just decorating the front and maybe decorating the pages a little bit. That doesn't interfere with the prompts. Just some flat decor so that it could get a little poofy. It's okay if it gets a little poofy in here. No one says that your prompt has to be, that your advent calendar thing, whoops, sorry about that, guys, has to be straight, has to be, what's the word? Oh, not closer. Let's back up a little bit and see if I get my light back. There we go. No one says it has to be super flat. It can have some oomph. It can be a little crocodile-ish. You can have a little decor in it. But there you go. A nice Fanfold, 12 by 12, down to a 3 by 3 flip out book that allows you just right 24 advent calendar days that you could put any kind of thing in here, but I think it'd be fun to make up a craft prompts for Christmas, right? Prompts for that day, what to use, what to create, things like that. So it could be a prompt on what to create. It could be a prompt on what to use. So I'll try to do a combination of. Have any ideas or suggestions that you love or want to be reminded of? Let me know in the comments. Because this will be today and I will probably get to the next day or so. But yeah, before the next video, I will try to get that done right away. But I can always make adjustments because this is my thing. But I do want it accessible to you guys. So really quickly today, if you think of a prompt that you want to be reminded of for Christmas when you're decorating, like, oh, I always forget to use such and such during the holidays, let me know. And I will try to get it added to the prompts for you. So that if you purchase the digital or the printable, you will have that beautiful reminder for your craft holidays. So, super stoked, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching, liking, loving, commenting, making sure in the notifications that you subscribe so you can keep watching what's going on with this. If you haven't already, you came across me by accident. And we will see you Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how busy this is. And we will continue on with inserting some prompts so you see how that goes. And we will do some, I have to find my fussy cuts, and we will do some decorating on both corners, both covers, not corners. We'll have to decide if I have some cute corners that we may want to add too. So I don't know. I don't think I had corners because I think you only have one side. So what do we do with this? Now you could add lace here, corners here, same thing. Lace on this side, corners on this side, and it would have a purpose to why you don't have 4 corners. But we'll see. I don't know. There's so many options, so many ways to do this. So love y'all very, very much. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll talk all real soon. Bye-bye.